we call it Code Tenderloin because the tenderloin is coding. It's dying, just like going to the hospital. Code blue, code red, code cardiac. That means someone's dying. In the tenderloin, we're dying.
That was Del Seymour, founder of Tenderloin Walking Tours and Code Tenderloin. Welcome to Storied San Francisco. I'm your host, Jeff Hunt. In this podcast, Del picks up where he left off in part 1, with his arrival in San Francisco. He takes us through addiction and sobriety, then shares the stories of how he started both Tenderloin Walking Tours and Code Tenderloin. Del ends this episode with his love letter, not to the city, but to the TL. This podcast was produced in partnership with Represent Collaborative. It's also part of our Small Business September series. Here's Del.
I drove in on 280, which is 6th Street. Came down that freeway, that 6th Street freeway, and within 24 hours, I was a blown-out drug addict. And I never used drugs in my life, yeah.
Okay.
Full-blown drug addict within 24 hours.
Wow. Do you want to talk about any of that at all, or?
A little bit, because, like I'm in the NA family, and we have different strategies or protocol, and the protocol or the group I'm in, we definitely preach, teach, whatever you want to word, don't stir the soup. In other words, we don't relive your past, because that past will become present if you keep stirring that soup. So I don't dwell on it, but just, I was introduced to crack cocaine. It's when I got here and got out the car at Turk and Taylor, I looked around, because when I met that girl on 6th Street, I never came into the real Tenderloin. So I still had not seen the Tenderloin. When I got out on Turk and Taylor, I thought they were shooting a movie. Because again, I'm from LA, and where they shoot movies on every corner, 24 hours a day. You've been there, Mm-hmm. I'm thinking they're shooting a movie, because there could not be a neighborhood like this. It's impossible in a civilized world for there to be a neighborhood like this. I'm looking for the camera. Where's the sound trucks? Where's the camera at? Because this is a straight out of the movies. Right. People walking around naked, people walking around doing sex acts on themselves, and just people with needles, not many needles, there's a few needles around, and people in drag, and people smoking dope, and just people hitting people in the head with pipes. All within 2 or 3 minutes, I saw that whole thing. Where are the cameras? Where's this movie? By 8 o'clock that night, I was in that movie. Wow. Doing everything I had just seen earlier.
Okay, and by all means, I don't want to force you to talk about any or ask you to talk about anything you don't want to talk about, but maybe I'm thinking, can we talk about your sobriety or becoming sober?
Yeah, well, we got a flashback 18 years.
Okay. So
that was an 18-year, we're fast forwarding to 18 years, which is actually 12 years ago that I became free from drugs. I was heavy into it. So I was at the park where I sell drugs, and Bodega Park, I don't know if you know it.
Yep.
So I was in that park doing my thing, selling my drugs. And the church comes every Saturday. Different churches come and do their missionary thing, give out clothes and all that kind of stuff. And so this particular Saturday, but I always tell all the preachers when they come in on Saturday, this is my park. I sell drugs here. I don't need all that Jesus and God stuff because it hurts my business. So you need to go over on that side of the park. I'm over here, and we're cool. I ain't got no problem with it. And they said, we wouldn't have a problem against you. I said, okay, well, fine. Just keep your microphone down because it's not good for business. And so they would all comply. And this one Saturday, the church came in, and they had been there before, but they've been in it. And they said, well, we're here today to do what we do. I said, okay, you know the rules. They said, but we noticed you wear suits, because I always wear suits when I sell drugs. And we put together and bought you a Pierre Cardin suit. It's close to the size we think. And here, so they handed me the suit, and it was like $359. The tag was still on it. And I says, what kind of fools would buy a dope dealer a $359 suit? these questions are really taken way off the top. You know, these people are crazy. These are suckers. And so I said to the guy there that, man, where's your church at? And he gave me the address of it. So I'm figuring I could go out there and get something else from them. You know, if they bring the suits down, let me go see what's in the safe, you know? So I said, I'll be out there tomorrow morning. And it was Saturday, so the next day was Sunday. And they said, sure, we'd love to have you. And I said, yeah, right. You know, talking that BS. So I get out there to the church the next morning to see what I could get from these suckers. And towards the end of the service, everyone like went up to the altar with the pastor. And the guy that gave me the suit, he went up and I walked up behind him and put my hand on his shoulder to let him know I was here. And he turned around and he said, Dale Seymour. And I said, how'd you remember my name? He says, oh man, I know who you are. And he says, and we prayed together, and that was it. That moment was it. That was the it moment. And the pastor asked me to come out the next day, and he says, how's your rent situation? Right then I was living in one of those SROs. And I says, well, I only have enough money till tomorrow, but I'm cool. You know, I'll just hang on the streets until I get some more money. And he says, well, how much is a month in that hotel? I said, no, I think about $1,200, $1,300. And then we kept on talking. And then he said, excuse me for a minute. And he walked out to the room. I mean, we had more or less finished our conversation. He said, give me a minute and I'll be right back. He walked out the room, came back 5 minutes later with a check for $1,300. He said, get you a room, bro. And I said, what is it? He said, get you a room, man. And it was made out to me. I could have went straight to the bank and cashed it. He said, pay your rent, bro. And I said, wow. Well, I sat there and just, what kind of people do this? And then the next day he called me and says, come out. And I came out and he took me to Men's Warehouse. And he told the man threw the credit card up there, give him to him everything, underwear, shoes, socks, jackets, overcoats. And I still got some of those clothes here. And that was it. That was a lot. And I've been with him ever since.
So this guy really took you under his wing. Something about it. Do you mind the name of that church?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll shout it out. San Francisco Christian Center. And,
okay.
And at that time, the pastor that met me was Pastor Joe Tabron, and now he's in Roseville. But I go visit him about once every 2 months at his church. But I'm still every Sunday involved with San Francisco Christian Center. So two of the guys that intervened with me that day, one of them now is on my board of directors, and the other one is my program director. Now,
so those are long-lasting relationships. Yeah. You said that was about how long ago from now?
11 or 12 years ago.
Oh, got it. Okay. That's the intervention, but then how did like the actual sobriety process play out?
Oh, that was the last day that I put drugs in my system. That day.
You just quit?
I made it. Now, when you quit, and I tell people all the time, there's two different levels of quitting drugs. And people don't realize it. Again, that's one of the things that we preach, is that there's the day that you quit drugs and the day that you want to quit drugs. 2 different days. So that was the day I quit drugs. I still wanted to get high for 3 years. I fought it every day. Worst part of my life. Worse than the drug part was the recovery part. And that was tearing me up. I mean, it was 2 people in your head fighting 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. So what I did, I immediately moved to Fairfield, California, far as I could get away, far away I could get from the Tenderloin, and deservingly, because in those 3 years, there was 2 times I woke up in the middle of the night and said, hell with this sobriety, this drug sobriety, I'm going to get high. And I started putting on my clothes. By the time I got downstairs and got in the car, I said, no, man, we're not doing this. That happened twice. If I was in the Tenderloin living, it would have been just walk downstairs.
Right. It would have been over.
Yeah.
What do you remember then? After you cleaned up, do you remember your first time to go back to the Tenderloin?
No, I don't. Let's see. Well, I did. I didn't immediately leave the Tenderloin because I had to get money to move. I had to get money to get an apartment. I had to get the moving truck and all of that. I had to get rid of my girl because she definitely couldn't come with me. She was not ready to stop. And there's no person in the world I love. I mean, besides family, I love more than Sheila Johnson. And I'll say her name because I love her to death. And I see her every once in a while, but we can't be together. You know, and if anyone I wanted to take with me that I want to spend the rest of my life with would be Sheila Johnson, but I can't give them, I'm not going to give up my sobriety for that.
So then I guess, unless there's something in between, can you talk about how you started doing the walking tours and what brought that on?
Well, so what happened, previously to this encounter with the church, I had I was a cab driver. I was driving veterans cab. And, you know, as a cab driver, to get your tips up, you become a tour guide. You know, hey, that's this and that's that, because you get that dialogue with the customer. And that's what it's about driving the cabs, are tips. I made more in tips than I made in fares, because I was a good tour director. I told them every building. And so then when I lost my license, well, I lost my insurance because I ran 3 of those damn camera lights, those camera red lights, those automatic red lights. I ran 3 of them the same day. And so I lost my ability to drive. So that put me in deep straits. So I figured out, how can I do something that's easy to do with not a big investment, you know, work on my own. And that was being a tour guide. So I said, what neighborhood does not have a tour guide? Tenderloin does not have, no one wants to go to the Tenderloin. Then I thought, wait a minute, people go to Alcatraz, and that's a nasty, pissy ass jail with no one there that you can even talk to. Why don't I do it for the Tenderloin? At least you can see human beings, you know, have a same history and present as, and it's a lively place. So I said, if Alcatraz tour can do it, I can do it. And that's when I started doing that.
And how long ago was that you started?
That was, I think I'm in my 11th year right now.
Oh, wow. So basically the whole time since you recovered, right?
Yeah, because I just remember, I was just looking at an article from Mayor Willie Brown as his column in the Chronicle, and he chronologized my tours 11 years ago, and I think I had just started there.
Wow, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. And we won the Best of the Bay contest, I think the 5th year.
Awesome. So I want to know, you know, with the shutdown, with quarantines, shelter in place, I'm assuming you had to stop right away. Have you been able to do anything since rules are changing a little bit?
No, I don't want to. I mean, with this lockdown that we got for all of our residents, I don't want to disrespect that lockdown by bringing people through the Tenderloin right now. So what I've done is, we're doing a virtual tour. So we've done 2 days of filming, and we'll do 1 more day of filming, and then we'll put the package together and then send it out to my customers. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. And this might be the staying theme, because we've done a couple of them already. I did a raw one already, and we've used for where we play the footage, and then I come in for like a 45-minute town hall meeting where we discuss what we had just seen.
Awesome. That sounds really cool. I want to do it myself. I have a couple of friends who've done the actual walking tour with you and just
they have. Okay.
Absolutely loved it. Yeah. My good friends and my neighbor, and she told me about you I think a couple of years ago, and I was just like, that sounds cool. It's something I'll do someday. And then now we're shut down. So yeah, anyway, okay. Well, can we go back and talk about Code Tenderloin, please?
Yes. So
how did that come about?
How Code Tenderloin, first of all, let me explain something. Code Tenderloin has nothing to do with computers. The name Code Tenderloin has nothing to do, that was not the original. We call it Code Tenderloin because the Tenderloin is coding. It's dying, just like going to the hospital. Code blue, code red, code cardiac, that means someone's dying. In the Tenderloin, we're dying, economically, physically, mentally, everything. So that's why Tenderloin is coding. It's on the way out. So that's why I started it, to bring some economic vitality back to the Tenderloin, because if we can heal the Tenderloin economically, the people in the Tenderloin economically, then we can, then the whole Tenderloin can more or less heal itself. So yeah, that's kind of why we call it Code Tenderloin.
And can you talk about what it is for folks who don't know what kinds of things that you do? Or
First of all, Code Tenderloin is we just got awarded the California Nonprofit of the Year for 2020 by the state of California. So we're kind of
congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, so we have if you go on www.code Tenderloin, you'll get our you get all our information. We got donate buttons, we have volunteer buttons, and all of that. So what we do now, we have fairly expanded our mission. We were initially into job readiness. That was our first mission. Then we actually went into coding, and we do 2 or 3 coding classes. We do sales, tech sales classes, and then we do what else? Oh, we do case management classes, and then we do ambassador classes. So we teach you any of those skills.
Got it. That's a lot. That sounds really cool. I guess thank you, because that's you're actually contributing and trying to improve not only people's lives but a neighborhood, and
we just did I think 150 kids. They graduated last week from Code Tenderloin in computer readiness, and for them to graduate, they had to make a website. So they had to come up with a website to make to design a website. So they're way ahead of the game now, and we'll be doing more kids this summer. We did, I think, 200 to 300 last summer, and we're just looking forward to more of this.
Are those happening now virtually as well?
Yeah, so we do 5 classes a day virtually, and then we during the daytime, what we do physically, we have 42 folks that we call care ambassadors out on the streets every day, tending to the needs of the people in our unhoused community.
Okay.
So our area is basically the entire Tenderloin, where we meet and greet. We don't regulate. We don't set any rules or laws. We just find out what people need and be able to make them more comfortable in their situations. So we have 2 safe sleeping sites that we monitor. And that's kind of what we do. We do that Monday through Friday. We're extending that to the weekends in the next couple of weeks.
If someone said, okay, Del, set everything else aside and write a love letter to San Francisco, what kinds of things do you think you'd say?
Well, my love letter would be about the Tenderloin, because that's the area I love. I don't love Noe Valley. I never even go there. I don't love Golden Gate Park. It's just a park. The beach is too cold. The waterfront is too cold and touristy. I love a real city, and that's what the Tenderloin is. It's a very loving community with people at their most openness, not necessarily their worstness, but they're the most open as you can be in the Tenderloin. It's so loving that whatever neighborhood you live in, well, you told me what neighborhood you live in, but in your neighborhood, you don't necessarily know the neighbor 5 houses down.
Right.
In the Tenderloin, we know who's in the tent 5 tents away. We know where their get down is. We know what their weaknesses is. We know what their strengths is, because we have to interact every day. I need a cigarette today. I can go down 5 tents and get one. And I don't just say, hey, sir, can you give me a cigarette? I say, hey, Bob, because I know Bob's name. Your neighbor 5 houses down, if you need a jump on your car, if you were to go down there, you wouldn't know his name. And the other thing is, you probably wouldn't even go down because you pull your AAA card out of your pocket. When we go down and get Bob and Peter and say, hey, man, come help me push my car out of the way. So it's a whole different dynamic. You know, you've been waving at that guy for 6 years and you don't know his name. You don't know if he's married or what. We know everything about our guys that we wave at because we never know who's in need. I got some money today, he'll have some money tomorrow. So I'll share today. You know, we don't even, if we get the term that's called come up, and in the communities, that means that you got something special, you got something extra, or you got a bonus, you got an award you got to give, you spread that with everybody. You don't go back to your tent and just cluster it. You say, hey man, somebody just gave me a box of ice cream cones. Everyone gets one. Hey, somebody gave me a case of socks. Everyone gets socks. You don't even think about hoarding it. Because you know, whenever you get some dope, let me be clear, you get some dope, you spread it with everybody. or at least a few other people.
It's in that sense, it's a true community, right?
It's a big commune, or whatever how you pronounce it. It is true community in all the sense of it. You know, someone gets in the hospital, everybody goes and visit them. Everybody goes and visit them, you know, or checks on them. Hey, how's Bill doing? Are you going today? Well, tell him I'll be there tomorrow. It's the most closest, really. It's the essence of community, right. And I have to love that. You know, like we are, man. And you know, we're in the most difficult situation is to be in. Yet people basically get along because we know we have to. That 10 is only a foot away, so why would you fight with him? Because you got to look at him a foot away for who knows how long. So we kind of get along easy. I see people in these multimillionaires fight each other because their tree is shading their house. I mean, going to court, superior court over a tree or a fence, or parking within an inch of my driveway. Out in the avenues, a neighbor will have the next door neighbor's car towed because it was an inch over the red line. Happens every day out in the sunset. We don't do any of that.
So your love letter to San Francisco is essentially a love letter to the Tenderloin. Is that
love letter to
the
Yes.
Awesome.
The most and we're not. It's not a neighborhood that I want you to pity. It's a neighborhood I want you to envy because of the reasons I just gave you.
That was Del Seymour. On the next episode of Storied San Francisco, we'll get to know Bernal Beast owner Steph Miller. Please join us for episode 34 next week. Music for Storied San Francisco is by Otis McDonald. Photography is by Michelle Kilfeather. The show is hosted and produced by me. Michelle and I have produced more than 120 episodes over the last 3 years, and you can find them all over at our website, storiedsf.com. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as just about everywhere you can listen to podcasts. Please subscribe to stay up to date on all the content we publish. And if you have any feedback for us, or you just want to say hi, our email is storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Stay strong, stay safe, and stay healthy.